All right. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. And if people come in, they come in. Because I'm about to leave because my head hurts really, really bad. But I do want to go through a couple of different practice problems with you guys for solubility curves, because what we're going to do is we're going to do two of these up here. We're going to do one of the ones from the table, and then we're going to do a couple of the ones from down here. And then you guys are going to complete the rest on your own, okay? So please pull this up if you haven't already. It's on eClass/Google Classroom, all that fun stuff. So we're going to get started so that I can go home. Okay. All right. So yesterday we started talking about solubility curves. And what a solubility curve is, this is an example of one right here. This is a graph that shows us a bunch of different lines, right? And what it shows us is the relationship between temperature and solubility. Okay. And that, even though that says grams of solute per 100 grams of water, that's correct. But really what it measures is solubility. Okay. So this is So this is the graph right here. Lots of different substances going on, right? Luckily for us, it is pretty easy to read once you get used to it. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through two of the problems right here. And then we'll do a couple more from the bottom of the page, and then you guys will finish on your own. So if you just got into Zoom, I'm going through some practice problems with you guys, and then I'm actually leaving to go home. So you will finish this practice. It is a grade. However, I don't want you to freak out if you don't totally understand it. I do want you to try, because I'm always willing to resubmit work back to you guys for corrections if you would like a higher grade. That is always something that I am willing to do. Okay. So let me show you what's going on here. So it says directions. Find the mass of solute that will dissolve in 100 milliliters of water at the following temperatures. Okay. So number one says KNO3 at 70 degrees C. So those are the two most important pieces of information. It's really the only pieces of information they give us. Okay. So here's what you're going to do. All right. It gave us 70 degrees C. So down here is temperature. We're going to find 70 degrees. It's right here. All right. Then what we're going to do is we're going to travel up this line right here, the graph line, until we find the line for KNO3, the curve for KNO3. So KNO3 is actually right here. Right there. So here's 70 degrees. And so we're going to travel up this line until we get to the KNO3 line, which is right there. Okay. So once we found that spot, now all we have to do is kind of travel over until we get to the y-axis. The y-axis is the one that goes up and down. So if it's in between 120 and 130, what is it roughly? 125, right? In between 120 and 130. So here, what you would do is 125 grams. That's the answer for number one. Okay, so we just started by going over to temperature, finding the temperature, and then going up until we met the line we were looking for, which was KNO3. And then we just go over to the y-axis, and it tells us how many grams. Okay, so the first one is 125. All right, let's look at number four. So we're going to do number one and number four together for this part. So it says, which of the above three substances is the most soluble in water at 15 degrees C, okay? So when it asks you about which one is most soluble, that means you're gonna be looking for whichever line is furthest up the graph. So here's the lines that they gave us. They gave us KNO3, they gave us NaCl, which NaCl is the hardest one on this graph to me because it doesn't move much. And so it kind of looks like a straight line. But it's right there, okay? NaCl, and then NH4Cl, which is right here. So got my lines here, and it says which one is the most soluble at 15 degrees. So 15 is between 10 and 20. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go up and see which one is the highest line. Well, in this case, our NaCl line, it's really hard to see, okay? But it's this guy right here. And at 15 degrees, it's the highest one. So you have to be looking pretty closely at your graph. So of the three lines that I just traced over, the one that is most soluble is NaCl, okay? And again, the most soluble part just means at that temperature, which one of those three lines is going to be at towards the top? Which one's going to be the tallest one or the highest one? Okay. Wonderful. So let's do one from part 2 right here. It says solutions. And so we talked about yesterday about saturated versus unsaturated. So what we're going to do, it says a solution that contains 70 grams of NaNO3 at 30 degrees C. Okay, so this gave us really 3 pieces of information. So let's find it. And I'm going to use purple for this one. Hopefully that will show up a little bit better. Okay, so if it gave us temperature, that's usually where I like to start. So on our graph, what we're going to do is we are going to find 30 degrees, which is right there. Right, 30 degrees. And then it says 70 grams of NaNO3. So we're going to travel up until we get to 70 grams. 70 grams is right there. So we'll travel up the 30 line until we find 70 degrees or 70 grams right there. And this is where our point is. And remember yesterday, our saturated is going to be if the point is on the line. Super saturated is going to be if the point is above the line, and unsaturated is going to be if the point is under the line. So now that we found our point, let's compare it to where our line is for NaNO3. So NaNO3 is right here. So where is this point located? On, above, or under the line? Under, yeah. So as far as saturated or unsaturated, if it's under the line, it's going to be unsaturated. Okay. So let's look at this part right here, the second part. It says, if it's unsaturated, how much more solute can dissolve in the solution? I'm going to tell you exactly how to do this, okay? Because you might do it for another one of these. If it is not an unsaturated solution, by the way, you do not have to fill out that box. But if it is unsaturated, you do. So here's what happens. Okay, here's my point that we just found right there. And there's the line we were comparing it to right here. So all you have to do is say, okay, if I'm at 70 grams here, how many grams does it take for me to reach the line? That's all it is. Okay, so we started at 70 and now we're right here, which if we draw a line over, I like to draw my graphs, by the way, you don't have to. But if we go over, this is at right about 95 grams. So if the point they gave us was at 70 grams, and then in order for it to be saturated, okay, then we're going to travel up to 95. So what's the difference between 70 and 95? You know, 70 to 80, that's 10. To 90, that's 20. 25. So how much more can dissolve? 25 grams. Okay. So if you get an unsaturated solution in this box down here, all you have to do is figure out how many grams is in between the point they gave you and the line that you're looking at. Okay. Okay. Let's look at couple things. This is for both 5th and 7th because I am going to post this video for my 7th period. Please don't delete it out of your document, but number 5, I want you to focus on answering A. And don't worry about B for now, because the lesson that I'm going to post tomorrow, I will have how to do this, okay? But I don't want you to worry about that now when I'm not going to be here. So let's see. Let's do number 6. Let's do number 6. That's the other one we're going to do together. Okay. It says, use the graph to answer the following 2 questions. Which compound is most soluble at 20 degrees Celsius? So most soluble, if the y-axis is solubility, the most soluble would be further up. Okay, so let's look at 20 degrees on our graph. Here's 20 degrees right here. And I'm going to write in yellow. Here's 20 degrees. Brownish yellow, whatever. And it says, which one is the most soluble? All you have to do here is go all the way up the line and see which line out of all of the curves that are on there is the highest one up. That's it. So if it's the most soluble at 20 degrees, we're just going to follow it up. There's a line all the way up here. So if this line right here is the highest one, that's the one that's most soluble. So our answer for number 6, the first part of 6, is going to be Ki, because that's the solution, or that's the compound. So K, capital I. Okay, capital K, capital I. Now, if the most soluble one is further up, what does it mean about the least soluble one? All the way down, all the way at the bottom. So this one says, which is the least soluble at 40 degrees C? Okay, let's look back at our chart here. Here's 40 degrees. Okay, so all you have to do is go up until you run into the first line. Here's the first line right here, and this is our answer right here. Right, Ce2SO43, which I'm going to write for you right here. Ce2SO43. Right?
No, I'm kind of upset. Well, not upset, but like, bro, I'm not teacher already. Bye.
Yeah.
You already don't know nothing in your class.
All right. So here's what you're going to do. You are going to complete the rest of the problems on this page, and that's it for today. Tomorrow, I will be out. I know, bad timing to get a migraine, right? I'll be out tomorrow. However, if you remember from last semester, we did a pixel art activity. I did another one of those, and it's super fun, and it's just exactly like this practice. And so that will be posted for you tomorrow. Do I have any questions about how to do this stuff before I let Zoom go and log off and before I send you guys next door?